Hi everyone, Isabel Martin here from the Gemstone Therapy Institute. In this video, I'm going to give you a little of the gossip. No, it's not that. It's the latest news from the Tucson Gem Show 2020 regarding the state of therapeutic quality gemstones. Top on the list is rhodochrosite. So what we learned is that even though rhodochrosite is available in several places around the world, there's only two primary mines that feed the industry. One of them mines banded rhodochrosite, and one of them mines the clear pink or watermelon rhodochrosite that almost looks like rock candy. It's good enough to eat, except you don't eat it. But I like to tease myself about that. It's just this beautiful pink. Well, that mine has been sold to a company that is no longer using it to mine rhodochrosite. It's now using that mine to extract gold. So, yeah, all their present inventory was sold to another company that we have contacted. They don't have any beads. The beads that they do have, it's just not our quality. Just not our quality. So we were buying every bit of rhodochrosite we could find, and that's the story. The good thing is we did find some therapeutic quality banded rhodochrosite, which I talk about to my level 2 practitioners and how to use that. So I'll be offering them some single beads of the banded rhodochrosite, but not enough for a necklace. They're just not enough of the fine therapeutic quality banded rhodochrosite to be useful for medicinal uses. And that's the thing. We'll see hanks and hanks. A hank is 10 or 20 strands, usually, of material, and nothing. So frustrating. Such a small percentage of material is really good for therapeutic use. Okay, I mentioned tanzanite in a previous video. I talked about how the country of Tanzania has made a new law where they are no longer exporting their rough, and good for them. The factories now have to set up in Tanzania and hire Tanzanian workers to cut the material. And so I celebrate what they're doing for their own people, keeping the wealth in their country as much as possible. And I hope they're being paid well, but you never know. The quality, though, of the tanzanite this year, there was a lot of it, but nothing that really stood out. So fortunately, we got quite a bit last year. With all the talk about the coronavirus, I was really surprised to find that in my trip from Connecticut, Atlanta, Tucson, I hardly saw anybody wearing masks. At the show, saw maybe half a dozen people at most the entire time I was there wearing masks. Interestingly, I saw more vendors wearing masks than customers. And there were crowds, but the crowds were also much less this year. In fact, the vendors that we knew were explaining that to us. A lot fewer people than last year attended the show. Fewer vendors as well came. So anyway, we were in line to purchase something, and from one of our Chinese vendors, and she was wearing a mask, and someone else asked her, we overheard this conversation, are you feeling okay? And the woman, who's Chinese, she said, oh no, I'm fine. I'm only wearing the mask so that my customers won't be afraid to come to my booth. I mean, how interesting is that? From Tucson, I traveled to Seattle, then Portland, long layover in Seattle, Portland, back to Seattle. the whole time. Very, very few masks. I also mentioned how the cluster costs had gone up so much. Very, very sad about that. What the vendors do is they ship their clusters and all their rocks and various things in these huge metal barrels. They're about that wide, and they're about 3 feet tall, maybe a little higher. And they store them at warehouses in Tucson, and then at the gem show they take them out and unpack everything. So the shipping cost is minimized from places like Brazil or Peru or Colombia, where these beautiful clusters come from. So I think most of the cost of these clusters is actually in the shipping, and I'm wondering if there are maybe tariffs that I personally am not aware of, or other restrictions about bringing the crystals into the country. Maybe that's a reason that the prices have gone up. I don't know. So yeah, as far as the number of vendors, we did see empty spaces where the vendors just weren't there. Our vendors seemed especially grateful to see us this year. There was just so much gratitude flowing, more so than ever. Maybe it's because they know us well, or maybe it's just because there were so few people. Carrie Ann went by herself that day that I had mentioned in another video, that I was back at the hotel just typing away and keeping up with newsletters and stuff like that, all the things that I write. And she had mentioned that she stopped at a booth. So this was Monday. This was maybe 3 to 5 days after the show had started. And the vendor says, "You're my first customer." And I was like, whoa, wow. So that might have been the reason for the gratitude, or just because we've seen these vendors year after year, and we go out of our way to build a good relationship with them. And for that, they'll often set aside things that they know we're looking for. It's just nice to get to know these people. They're in our industry, and just trying to teach them about what's therapeutic and what we're looking for, and just developing this relationship. And they're such interesting people. Oh, you start a conversation with them, and when they're not busy, they'll go more into their lives and what they're doing and what they collect, and what they're up to. And it's just really interesting hearing about them, and just making friends, really. But one of our motives for doing that is just so that we can find these therapeutic gemstones, so that we can work with them, and that they'll keep aside some material for us so that you can have that material. So that you who know how to work with it, who appreciate the therapeutic quality, can benefit from it the most. So anyway, we love our vendors, they love us, and it's just been a really nice ongoing relationship. Alright, so probably one of the biggest news, I saved it for last. We started getting inklings of this 3 years ago, but I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to share a rumor that may or may not have been true. But we saw, actually, Carrie Ann's husband saw a nature special on TV that talked about the very same thing, and I figured, okay, if it's in the mainstream news, it's real. And we verified it this year also. But the news is that the opal mines, what the earth is providing, has changed. So a lot of the opal mines have closed, or they're just not mining what they used to. So what they used to be able to mine, opal would come in bigger chunks so that we could make beads. But now what the earth is giving us is very thin layers of opal, which is good for cabochons. Cabochons are found in many jewelry, rings and pendants and earrings. So they're flat on the bottom, and the cabochon has a gentle, rounded shape at the top. They're often oval shaped because that's the shape that allows the fire in the opal, the play of color, to shine the best. Yeah, so opal's disappearing. We have a few opal vendors. One of them, we bought all their good stuff last year, and she's out. She's completely out. There is no more opal. She can't get it. Another vendor mentioned that there is lower quality beads still available. The higher quality has increased in price by 50%. 50%. You cannot get opal anymore of the bigger sizes, probably 6mm and up, of the higher quality. It's just not available. The earth is just not giving it to us. So our opal vendors, there's no more material. It's all old stock. All old stock. Very interesting. Yeah, so the one very, very high quality opal that we have, that's actually not mine. That's an investor. Okay, it's my brother who's an investor of various things. And he wanted to invest in some opal. So when I told him the state of opal, he was like, well, I'll consider what I want to do about the price. He's still thinking about it, so we'll see. As it is, it's still what it is. That one piece we have is crazy. You can't, in a video, really see the fire in that piece. It's just really well. I think I did a good job picking for him. All right, so anyway, something else I want to share with you is that on Thursday, my daughter happened to be, and my new son-in-law happened to be in Tucson visiting his relatives, and I took them to one of the gem shows. Actually, let's see, we went to 2 shows. I was able to get them guest passes for one, and the other you didn't need any passes at all. It was for the public. We were there for 3 or 4 hours, and they were exhausted, completely exhausted. And I'm saying, yeah, you sure you want to go home? I mean, there's still time. But they were wiped out. And it occurred to me, Carrie Ann and I, the both of us, we are top speed from 10 in the morning to 5 or 6 at night. Then we get something to eat for dinner. We don't even stop for lunch in most cases. If we do, we've brought the lunch with us, we'll sit down for maybe 15 minutes just to eat, and then we're back on our feet. Or we bring some snacks with us to eat as we're going. And still, we don't see the whole thing. We don't see everything we want to. But that being said, it occurred to me, I wonder if there's some kind of blessing that we're given to be able to do this for so long. Oh, because then after dinner we come back to the hotel room and we have to go through everything that we bought, make sure we've got the receipts. We have to organize the receipts. We've got to send all the information to our bookkeeper, and that takes about 2 hours just to go through everything and make sure we've got the numbers right. And was it spent by cash? Was it a check? Was it a credit card? Which credit card? And all the bookkeeping stuff. So I was wondering, and I just wanted to be grateful for that blessing. I think we're kind of in a bubble or something that allows us to have this extra bit of endurance for these 8 days that we were there hunting for therapeutic quality stones. So, yeah, and I say that in all humbleness and humility. It's just something that I'm very grateful for. I recorded that, but I don't even know if I'm going to share it in the video. Just a reflection that I had. All right, well, I hope you like this video, this little insight into some of the latest news coming out of the Tucson Gem Show. I invite you to leave a comment. I always like to hear from you. Like the video, check out any information we might have below in our information box if you want links to other videos and other information that we offer. All right, have a good day and bye for now.